Topic on fuel, we now get straight into Family Check, where we will be tackling the issue of employee mental wellness. And I am joined by Esther Katiba, who is here to talk about that topic. And she is a certified HR practitioner, a legal professional, and a mental health champion. And she's here, right here with us to help us just delve into this topic of mental health, especially employee mental wellness. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I can see you're ready for this discussion.
I am, yes.
If we can just get to mental wellness, if we can just start by defining what mental wellness generally is.
Allow me to define it as World Health Organization does. World Health Organization defines mental health as a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope, number one, with the stresses of life. That means it is okay to have the normal stress of life, but being in that state helps you to cope with that, to realize your abilities, learn well, work well, and contribute to your community. So that is what it is.
Mental wellness.
Mental wellness, mental health. That you're able to cope, you're able to realize your abilities, you're able to learn, and you're able to contribute to the community. Now, if one of that is not working, then something needs to be done. Yes.
How do we then link that into the workplace? You know, mental wellness in the workplace.
I will still give you, I want to lay a very good foundation, and especially from World Health Organization. World Health Organization says that over 50% of the world's population is actively working. Now, the world population, the last I checked this morning, must have been 8.1 billion. So over 50% of that population is actively working. 15% of working adults age live with mental disorder. 15% of that. Now, 12 billion working days are lost every year to depression and anxiety. 12 billion working days. That means it affects the employer. When you're depressed, when you're anxious, because depression and anxiety will come. They'll find you one way or the other. Depression and anxiety alone costs the global economy US $1 trillion each year as a result of reduced productivity. Now that takes us to the workplace. Because if your employees are not functioning well, they are not in their right state of mind, then it affects their productivity.
Yeah.
Yes, and allow me to say from the start that I know we have this thought that workplace is where you sit in the office and do everything else. The person at Juakani is at their workplace.
True.
Your house help in your house is in the workplace. Your gardener is in the workplace. So workplace is a very big scope. Yes.
Okay. Right now we take a very short break, and then when we come back we will continue with this discussion on mental wellness. And we are back to continue with the discussion that we have just started, and that is employees' mental well-being. And you had already defined for us what mental wellness is. You've linked that into the workplace and just gotten us to understand in depth how important this is, you know. And as much as we are talking about employees, what of the employers? You know, what of their mental wellness as well? Because I feel like when their mental wellness is not okay, then it automatically trickles down to the employees, because they're going to be frustrated all the time, and it is going to trickle down to their employees as well. So what of the mental wellness of employers as well?
That's also very important, and I think we talk about the stressors because organizational culture is one of the big stressors. Now, employers, we of course say that the leadership is responsible of the organizational culture. Now, employers also need to seek help. And it's not just, and I think there's a stigma behind the term mental health.
Yes, there is.
Because in most cases, when I even go to train organizations and I'm talking to them about mental wellness in the workplace, and you ask a question, how many people have mental health? They will not lift their hands. But if you ask how many people are enjoying physical health, they will lift their hands. It's because of the stigma, and someone takes time to digest what are they actually asking? Are they setting me up? So I definitely would say employers are even more stressed, and sometimes we don't think that. We don't think they're more stressed because they're looking at numbers, they're looking at the business survival, they're looking at so many things. They're overloaded with so much. So it is just for me to say that employers need to also normalize conversations around mental health for themselves and for their teams, so that an employer, a boss can say, I am not in the right state of mind today, I'm not going to come, or I'm not going to have a meeting. It is okay to cancel a meeting if you feel as a boss that you're not in the right state of mind. And it is okay for you to seek counsel, to seek help. Because I think we need to, I've been saying this over and over again, if there's any role that has been ignored, every organization, and especially with a bigger number or whatever, needs to either be attached to a clinical psychologist or to an organization that will give that counsel to the people. It's it's no longer something that we can ignore. I have said many times that mental health conversations are no longer a nice to have. They are a must have in the workplace for both the leadership and the employees. Yes.
There's something you've touched on where you say that mental wellness is something that is not spoken about as much.
Yes.
And if I may put it this way, it is spoken about in very harsh tones sometimes because people assume when I come to tell you that my mental state is not okay, many people will assume, oh, you're going psycho.
Yes.
Are you...
Definitely.
I mean, have you lost some couple of, balls? People will make fun of someone. Just how do we change that? How do we avert that stigma that comes with mental health, just to make people understand, for you to say that you're not in a good mental state, it does not mean that you are, psychotic or something of the sort. How do we do that?
I think it's just normalizing this conversation in the workplace and providing a platform in the workplace where employees are free to speak. I am stressed, I'm not able to handle this. And from a HR perspective, I know HR people, we have actually been pushed on the side. We are the ones that look at you, your mental health. We don't even mostly look at your mental health, we look at your performance more. We are pushing people to perform. We forget that I keep saying there's the word human before the resource. So just be human, put the H before. The human side of it. Normalize this conversation such that people in teams, different teams, and also learn to reward people that would even like ambassadors, appoint ambassadors in the workplace that will help normalize this conversation, that will help talk about it, and don't stigmatize. And it starts from the top. If I hear my boss say that he's not in the right state of mind to work, I'll be like, oh, okay. You mean it also touches you?
Yeah.
It's not just about me. And we must stop terminating people that disclose that they are not okay mentally. Because really, if you move into that position where you're terminating them, you're making it worse for them and for their families. Because these people have come from a home. These people are sons, daughters, husbands.
Sometimes we forget that.
We forget that bit in the workplace, When you get into the gate, we take you as an employee, and it is unfortunately a use and dump mentality. That when you're not able to perform, you're not able to give me the results, then we let you go. Can we just normalize this, that when we come to work, I'll look at you and say, Vivian, how are you? How is your family? How is everything at home? Are you sure you're well? Get to know your employees such that I can pick when you are not at your best. I'm able to pick that. And we need to train our leaders. Those are programs that we need to talk about. Because leaders and managers, team leaders need to be trained. So that when I look at you walk in, I have done this in different companies, and I've looked at somebody walking. I looked at a gentleman one time walking, and I said, "You're not at your best." And he said, "No, I'm okay." I said, "No, you're not. I know your best." It's a behavior change that we need to watch. If I see you go down in your performance, you are that bubbly girl, all of a sudden you're not talking, you're pulling aside to your corner, I need to come and find out.
Yeah.
Yes.
But just one would ask, just how effective is that really, especially for organizations that are really big? How effective is it? How is a leader able to, get to know each and every one of their employees in terms of where they get to a point where they can even notice when there's a behavioral change? Is that effective?
Yes, it is possible. Just appoint champions in smaller groups. It doesn't have to be, you see, if you're in an organization that has 5,000 people, you don't even know some of them.
True.
You will be shocked when you meet on the street, we work in the same organization. But then why don't you just delegate and get to appoint ambassadors in smaller teams? Get people, you see, there's this word that is used in most organizations, and people just laugh at it, that we are family. And people are like, oh, we are? Really?
Yeah.
Because when I am mourning, you're not there. When I'm going through my marital issues, you're not there. When I am dumped by my boyfriend or girlfriend, you're not there. And then you come to work and tell me we are family? I doubt.
Yeah, and they actually do say that in the workplace, the way that you've said we are family, there's actually a statement that people normally love to use, that we go to work, we're not coming to work to make friends. That the workplace is not a place where you come to find friends. You come to make your money.
But human beings, we are created to socialize.
Yeah. So
you can't, you see, it's interesting because I have also worked with Gen Zs, and these young people, definitely. You can't, how am I going to work on a project by myself? You've had this common saying that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with other people. So you can't tell me that you don't come to make friends in the workplace. Then how are you working in isolation? How?
No man is an island.
You can't. No, you have a team right now doing this work, right?
Yeah.
We are sitting here talking, there's a team. So you cannot say that you will not be a friend to your teams. You need to check on each other. Sorry. And we are often told, especially people that don't talk a lot about their issues, kindly keep an eye, check on them. People that look strong, they are not as strong as we think sometimes. They go through a lot and everyone says, Vivian is very strong. She can manage it. She could be going through a very hard time. Yes.
Yeah. If we can just get to look at some of the work-related stressors so that we can be able to identify them.
Number one, I'll go back to organizational cultures. Now, when I walk into KBC, there's a culture inside. There's a culture that is set within an organization, and cultures are within the rituals. There are things you do, You have your good morning, Kenya. There are things that you have that a different organization doesn't have, There are symbols, including your logos. They speak a lot. We hardly even look at that ourselves. Control systems, whether it's financial systems or quality systems, those are cultures. Stories, people that have worked with you before. And I was impressed. I came across a video of a KBC meeting the old heroes and heroines, that was impressive. I watched that to the end, and I said organizations need to do this. So the stories of those people that have worked with you before will tell me about the culture of an organization. Now, if you go to some of the platforms like Glassdoor, people go and just give their views. I worked in this organization, join them at your own risk. That's it. It's a story. Someone is telling something about your organization. There are power structures, the pockets of power. Who makes decision in an organization, The organizational culture and structures, It is important when you're joining an organization, please ask for the structure. That would tell you straight on who you can reach and who you can't reach. Sometimes we're very good at saying it's an open door policy. But then you look at the structure and you come to the ground, vitu kwa ground ni tofauti, You move to a supervisor and someone says, no, you've crossed the line. So look at that. Number 2, look at change management. How do organizations do their change? You know, sometimes some organizations, you just wake up and discover the CEO has left. Nobody told us. I have been moved to a different department. Nobody told me. You know, so those things speak about you, and they stress employees. You need to know that. They stress employees because I am not sure. I am unsure of what I'm waking up to tomorrow. Trauma. And I thought about media people, actually. Medics, media people. Media people are called here and there to go and just witness an accident, witness something else. It leaves stress in your mind. Sometimes we don't think about that. When you're covering a story, it looks like a very catchy story, but that person needs counseling thereafter.
Yeah, because it's also doing something to your mind.
Yes, to your mental health.
Yeah.
Now, that person will keep seeing a lot of that, and you begin to say, oh, Vivian is good at covering accidents or something, send her. But do you send Vivian for counseling? Because psychologists do what they call debrief. Mm-hmm. Do you media people debrief? That's why I'm saying the role of a psychologist is important in organizations. Role conflict. HR professionals, kindly make sure you clarify people's roles, because if I am performing a role and then I find you doing it again, it gives me stress, and I'm wondering, is Vivian taking my job, or what's happening? And I'll go back home thinking throughout the night, am I being fired? So you don't see the stress behind it, but when we have that conflict, we need that clarity of roles. Poor management practices, and this I need to shout. Mm-hmm. The poor management practices. Now, those in leadership need to be careful, very careful on how they manage people. Micromanagement is a big thing. If you hire people, please hire people because they are competent and allow them to do their work. I have seen bosses that will keep coming to your laptop and they'll scroll and they want to see, and somebody in the IT, you're seeing your cursor moving and you're wondering what's happening. So somebody at the back end is checking what you're doing on your laptop, on your machine. Kindly, lack of trust kills my morale to even come to work. I begin to get stressed, you know.
That's true.
There is poor communication. Bosses that have favorites. You know, you can always say, no, if we want something in the office, please send this person, we'll get it. If you go, you'll not get it, you know. Bullying, shouting bosses. I keep saying leadership is a very big responsibility. Now, if you have an issue with your temper as a boss, seek professional help. If you feel as a boss that you may not be able to hold a meeting because of one or two things, or you're in between a meeting, it is okay for you to call off a meeting and take a walk. Mm-hmm. Instilling fear in your team does not mean they respect you. And I say this 100 times. The fact that people fear you in the workplace does not mean they respect you.
Yeah, fear doesn't
Those
translate
two are different.
To respect. Yeah.
Yes, respect is and fear is instilled. Mm-hmm. So as leaders, we need to understand that we stress our employees, especially when they fear you. When they see you and scamp for safety, you make that person stressed and they become unproductive. They are not at their best, they are not confident, and they will begin to look for another job. Mm-hmm. You lose talent because now managing mental well-being and mental health of your people is a talent management. So around that, and unreasonable job demands. Mm-hmm. Rini, you give me an assignment that you know too well as an expert takes 3 hours and you want me to do it in 1 hour or 30 minutes. Let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. So don't set people up for failure. Stop stressing people in the workplace. Let's be reasonable. Let's set the right culture. Let's just be the best leaders. You can't agree with everything with your employees, but can you just try and make the work environment conducive for results?
Yeah. I want to get back to the issue of counselors that you touched on while you were talking about some of these stresses. Is it the responsibility entirely of the employer to ensure that there are counselors in their facilities or in their organizations? Or is it your responsibility as an employee to just find a counselor for yourself?
I think that's why I said this conversation around mental health is no longer nice to have. Let's just accept that people are stressed by just not even the work, by their life out there. The issues of money, the issues of family, the issues of raising children and the rest. So if you're an employer and you care about people, because when you bring people on board, then they would expect that you show them that you care, including their families, because those things that happen outside work affect their productivity. So if you want the best results, it doesn't have to be expensive, really. You can just have virtual calls or with counselors. You can just have group calls. Those are the programs we're talking about. You can train managers internally who will also be able to take care of your people. You don't even have to set up a station and employ someone. Why don't you equip your own managers with the same skills and let them now take care of your flock, as we say in the church? So why don't you do that? I think if you want the best results, take care of your people. Take care of yourself. I also say self-care is not selfish. I have the responsibility to take care of myself. Yeah. And I'm a firm believer of self-care, whether it is emotional, psychological, financial, social, anything. I have the responsibility to take care of myself. But as an employer, and you know that your work area is stressful, let's say it's a medic, really. So where is the source of the stress, the biggest stress? Is it their home or is it in the hospital? It's in the workplace. So why is it that you do not want to help me through my workplace, And the stress is a result of the workplace. Yeah. So I think it's just humane for you to see that I can support. It's a support for your staff. Yeah. It's not a demand. But if you care about your employees, as we say, and that's why I said this word of we are family, because family cares, right? Family will even pick you and take you to a psychologist. But so if at the workplace we are family, we're not machines. You're not draining me, and once I am drained, you dump me. It's a family thing. It's a workplace where we have friends. So take care of each other. That's what I would say. Yeah.
And what is the responsibility of employees themselves?
My responsibility definitely is to decide, and I'll say this, decide how much information I need to share. We need to be careful also how much you expose yourself as an employee in the workplace. Prioritize self-care. Yeah. Know when to go to the spa. It is okay. There's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself. Know when to go to the gym. You can enroll yourself to a gym. Please know when to spend time with your friends and family. Take care of your finances, because that's also a very big pillar that stresses employees. We drag our financial issues into the workplace and become unproductive. So be able to manage your finances, take care of yourself, take care of your health. Eat a balanced diet, because when you're sick, you don't perform. Then we come and blame the employer. When you don't exercise, your body just knocks. You come back and blame the employer. Know when to log off from work. I had a colleague that told me he must have his laptop at the bedside, just in case the boss sends an email or gives a call in the night. It's a very unhealthy culture. Very unhealthy. You've taken your laptop into the bedroom, into the bedside, and you can switch on anytime. Know when to log off, and take care of yourself. So it's your responsibility to also,
to do that. And I feel like some of the responsibilities that you've talked about really just work for people who are employed in organizations, right? What of the person in the Juakali sector? What of that house help? What of that person who works as someone who pulls the cart, who carries luggages for people? How do they log off?
No, you need to log off. You can't work throughout, Vivian. You just can't. They shut down. You won't go to Juakani at 8 p.m. and find them. they've closed, right? They've gone back to their families. Some of those people, you find them taking walks. I used to work in a manufacturing company, and one time I decided to just take a walk, and I would meet some casuals and all the others on the way taking a walk, and I was like, wow, it is a challenge to me because I was starting, but to him, he's like, madam, I do this, you know. Just take care of yourself. Self-care is important. I mean, how much money? I keep saying, Vivian, there's no amount of money, no job title is worth your mental health. So kindly learn to log off, learn to spend time with your family, learn to do what you enjoy doing, because you will push yourself so much. And I have been a victim of fatigue, burnout. I have been a victim of fatigue because in the workspaces we're in, we are told and we think that overworking yourself is rewarded, and that's what happens, because you hear bosses say, give it to Vivian will leave this place at 10 p.m. Don't give it to Esther, she logs off at 5. So you look like a hero because you're overworking yourself. Wait until you crash. We will put Vivian aside, your medical cover is over, and Esther will take your job.
And in workplaces, no one is irreplaceable.
Of course.
We are all replaceable.
Of course, you are.
Yeah.
The minute you're out, we HR professionals begin to draft the JD afresh and send it out, as we also say, poleni sana. You know? So unless it's your business, and even if it's your business, your children will take it over. Somebody will take it over. There's nothing you're doing that nobody else can do. So take care of yourself. Prioritize self-care. If it is going for those family parties or your own bashes or just meeting your friends in the evening, it helps you unwind, and then tomorrow you're good to go. Yeah.
Okay, as we wind up, if you can just take me through some of the programs that should be put in place in order to ensure that employees, their mental wellness is being taken care of.
Good. Seminars are good. I have seen organizations that have gyms within the organization. Others will pay for you to have that gym. Others have the spiritual pillar is a very strong pillar, whichever way you want to do it. But it is important for you to have those mindfulness breaks, the meditation, the prayer, and the others. There's the gyms, there's outdoor activities. You realize that, you see, Gen Zs, let me tell you, our generation, we didn't bother with things like pool tables and the rest in the workplace. Nowadays, it's almost a demand from Gen Zs that I need a space I can play. I need, I don't know, this. I need to.
Don't we just love this?
I know, they're so
know
good.
To speak up for themselves.
No, it's because they speak up, and you can't stress them.
Yeah.
They will actually walk out on you so comfortably.
Yeah.
I think we persevered so much until we lost. We might be the biggest part of the 15% that stays with mental issues because we kept quiet so much. Health insurance plans, if you can afford it, please do it for your staff. Lifestyle coaching, you can do reward and recognition for acts of kindness, so, because we are human beings. We need to be appreciated. So just do what is within your budget. And let me say this, employers, be intentional to budget and invest in employee wellness. It doesn't have to be a huge budget. It can be something very simple within the organization, yes.
Okay, and our time is up right now. Thank you so much for shedding light on this particular topic. We appreciate and we hope that everyone that is watching has gotten to take a thing or two from it. All right. One of the main things that I feel like should be stressed on this particular topic that we were talking about, which is employee mental health, is the fact that you should take time for yourself. Take time off for you to just take care of your well-being. It doesn't need to be expensive. If you cannot afford to go to a spa, how about you just make sure you take a walk? Just something as inexpensive as taking a walk, and ensuring that you eat well as well, and ensuring that you just give yourself time to rest. And that is all that it takes for you to ensure that you are taking care of your well-being, and that is your mental well-being. This is where we put a cap to today's show. Good Morning Kenya ends now. Thank you so much to each and every one of you who has been tuning in. We do this again tomorrow, same time and place. I have been your host, Vivian Dagwa. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.